May the resurrection of Christ bring us lasting joy, peace, and prosperity. Welcome to the Easter Monday edition of New Day here on TV3. It's time for news. My name is Josh Queenan. And now the residence of the Member of Parliament for Esunafo South, Eric Opoku, has allegedly come under attack by some New Patriotic Party thugs. The incident, which happened last night at Sankore, resulted in 4 cars belonging to the MP being vandalized. Some NDC supporters who were with the MP at the time of the attack sustained varied degrees of injuries. The MP, it said, was not hurt in the attack. The police say they are yet to confirm the identities of the attackers. This is not the first time the MP has been attacked. In December last year, the same MP was allegedly attacked by some MPP thugs, attracting widespread condemnation from other members of Parliament. And remember, you can also watch us live on DSTV channel 279. Easter is a time for bonding and celebrations for some families. Many holiday revelers in Accra throng beaches to celebrate the long holidays. As businesses cash in, what are operators doing to ensure safety? Nuan Falong visited some beaches and has come through with the following report.
The beaches are a popular destination during holidays in Accra. Many public beaches are often filled to capacity. A few years ago, tragedies were common on our beaches, especially during the holidays. In recent times, measures have been put in place to ensure celebrations are free of tragedy. At the Tawala Beach, the scene was lively.
We are down here to play!
Head of operations of Labadi Beach, Afutu Ni Kwe, tells us although they have their own private security, they are joined by several state-deployed officers to make sure swimmers and merrymakers observe the right safety procedures. Among the security personnel observed were lifeguards, the National Disaster Management Organization personnel, the Ministry of Defense, and the National Ambulance Service.
I'm from the National Ambulance Service.
Ministry of Defense.
Ministry of Defense.
Yeah,
Why are you here today?
We are here to give protection and also to provide lifeguard to people having fun.
Before they will come, we scan the water so that we know where is good, where is no good. So if you watch, I have the red flag and the white flag. So you know from the red flag you are going to danger zone. So we have to swim at the middle of the white flag.
Personnel of the Ghana Police Service were also present, especially at entry points.
We urge you to be precautious when you step to the beaches today. That's Easter Monday. And still on Easter, churches across the country organized services and crusades to commemorate the resurrection of Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday. That was yesterday. Key amongst the Easter messages was an advice to the President of Ghana to use the resurrection of Christ to reconcile the country in order to achieve the Ghana Beyond Aid mantra.
The day was devoted to the singing of praises and songs of adoration to mark the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The day is the climax of Easter celebrations, coming after Good Friday and Palm Sunday, which marked the triumphant entry of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem. For the Assemblies of God Church, it was an opportunity for all 16 churches under the New Town Jolu district to worship together. General Secretary of the Assemblies of God, Ghana, Reverend John Garte, explained the need for Christians to mark this day.
That is the bedrock of our faith, and that is what we stand for. So on occasions like this, it is very important not only to commemorate the event, but also to convince ourselves of the truth that we have always upheld.
The same atmosphere characterized the Cedar Mountain Chapel at East Legon, also in Accra. Lead pastor, Reverend Dr. Stephen Wingham, said the resurrection of Christ should be used as a point to show appreciation to God and remind ourselves of the enormous benefit of his birth, which is relevant to the nation's socio-economic and spiritual development. He believes this is the best time to reconcile the country.
Our political ideologies have so divided us. Partisanship is the bane of our development. And I will urge the president, he is the father of the nation, to take the bold step and emulate the example of Pilate and Herod and unite this country immediately. Or else let's forget about Ghana beyond aid. Let's forget about all those mantras. Unity is the bedrock to achieving Ghana beyond aid.
Many Christians have over the Easter period been fasting, praying and asking for repentance and meditation on the agony and suffering of Jesus Christ on the cross and what this means for their faith. The St. Augustine Anglican Church, like all other churches, used this opportunity to dine with Christ to signify a new beginning.
If we have resurrected with Jesus Christ, it means we will live a new life. We will remove our old clothes and put on new clothes to live righteous lives that will bring glory to the Lord.
He advised the youth to use this opportunity to pray to God and make Him the center of their lives.
You can interact with us on stories aired so far. On Facebook is News on TV3 and on Twitter is News TV3. Our WhatsApp number is 050-823-5228. They spend hours on the streets of Accra surviving the storms of life. Some have been neglected, ostracized and beg for alms to make ends meet. Stanley Niblo throws a searchlight on the plight of the less privileged in the capital.
Streetism is a phenomenon that hampers the physical and psychological development of children. The growing trend has been attributed mainly to parental neglect, deviant behavior and child abuse. At the Opebia area, Kaukudi, Tema Station and the Accra City Hotel Enclave, it is not uncommon to find children on the street begging for alms while others engage in wiping windscreens of vehicles for pittance. Mothers, the aged and persons with disability are not left out as they move dangerously in between street lanes begging for alms. These less privileged persons have something to smile about during Easter. Philanthropists, in the spirit of the season, provides temporary hope for the destitute.
Very bad. It's awful anyway, because you see them on the streets and like you don't even know what they eat or where they sleep. We pray that the government will take them off the street someday so that they will have a place to live.
Their gesture was in tune with the season. Headquarters at the Accra City Hotel Enclave were not left out. The beneficiaries, however, did not speak with the news team but were excited about the gesture by the philanthropist.
Some opinion leaders in Jamestown and its environs have expressed worry about the growing spate of child gambling in their area. According to them, the act is promoting delinquency amongst school children. Jocelyn Wood was in Jamestown and reports children as young as 8 engage in the act in the full glare of adults.
Act 2006 Act 721 prohibits persons below the age of 18 from gambling. Despite its illegality, opinion leaders in Jamestown say underage gambling is fast gaining grounds in the area. Here, operators display the machines in open places to entice children to gamble so as to make some money. Concerned parents say underage gambling exposes children to all sorts of vices and called on authorities to step up efforts to stop the menace.
Children in this area do not study because of gambling. They skip school in order to engage in the act.
Over the years, Gaming Commission has been criticized for its inability to enforce the law as some school children spend hours gambling instead of studying. For now, the Commission must double up their efforts to create awareness on the dangers and illegality of underage gambling to safeguard the future of these vulnerable child gamblers.
And now 2 non-governmental organizations have intensified campaigns to end illegal migration in Africa. More than 4,000 African migrants have died in the last 4 years attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea to Europe.
More Africans continue to leave the continent through illegal unapproved routes to Europe in search for better living conditions, but majority of these immigrants perish in the course of their voyage, either in the Sahara Desert or on the Mediterranean Sea. An international organization for migration, IOM, study indicates that more than 22,500 migrants have died or disappeared globally since 2014, with more than half of them perishing while attempting to cross the Mediterranean. The study also indicates that during the first 5 months of 2016, 205,858 migrants reached Europe via the Mediterranean, with 2,512 dying in the process. Last year, 71,029 migrants and refugees crossed the Mediterranean to enter Europe. 1,650 died in the process. Other African migrants who attempt going to Europe through Libya are subjected to intense violence and exploitation by hardened criminals. In a bid to avert the trend, Organization for Migrants and Non-Immigrants for African Education in collaboration with Do Good Foundation have commenced a campaign both home and abroad to dissuade Africans from leaving the continent through hazardous routes. As part of the campaign, skills training will be offered to some youth in the country.
From our project, identification of community challenges on migration made us to, or helped us to record over 3.2 million data of unemployed youth in Ghana. To motivate the African youth not to migrate is by empowering him so that he can fit into the Ghanaian labor markets.
Kenan Rabino is a partner.
Not because the Europeans are not opening their doors, it's because first the way to get there is a very dangerous way. And when they get to the countries, not all Europeans are opening the doors, and then they are illegal, and then they have all those problems. So this is a real big issue. So first we need to tell the young people the dangers of it.
The collaborating organization will require African governments support to effectively make impact on the illegal migration.
Certainly, this is a development we all want an end to. Let's see how the campaign goes. A nationwide campaign dubbed Sleep Under a Treated Net for a Good Life has been launched in the Volta region. 15.5 million treated bed nets are to be distributed across 9 regions during the campaign period. The Upper West region is exempted due to the indoor residual spraying program.
Malaria continues to afflict many, with developing countries worse affected despite interventions for decades. Although the use of treated mosquito nets remains a crucial component of the fight against malaria campaign, some people are yet to embrace it. As a result, mass distribution exercise has been initiated to encourage people to use mosquito nets.
I wish to call upon district assemblies, religious bodies, traditional leaders, NGOs, the media, parents, and the general public to support this very important campaign to save the vulnerable children in the fight and pregnant women from malaria, and also save the government from investing so much in the treatment of the disease.
In a bid to achieve universal coverage of the long-lasting insecticidal nets LLIN program, treated bed nets would be available in many households. Over 2.2 million registered people across 25 districts are expected to benefit from over 1 million treated bed nets allocated to the Volta region. The distribution process, according to the long-lasting insecticidal nets program manager, Dr. Kezia Mal, will be guided by the Ghana Health Service structures to ensure efficiency.
To sustain the gains achieved in the previous campaigns and improve areas of net utilization and retention, the program is undertaking yet another long-lasting insecticide-treated point mass distribution campaign throughout the country, starting from Volta region.
Dr. Mam appealed to community leaders to mobilize and sensitize their community members towards the ultimate goal of eliminating malaria.
And that's how we end news here on New Day. For more news updates, you can log on to our website, freenews.com. I'm Josh Queening. Enjoy your holiday. Good morning. Okay.
It's a beautiful
Good morning.
Yes, Monday morning, and we're here.
Christ is reason indeed.
Yeah.
So I know people are doing their own things.
Yeah.
Our folks at JKT are doing their own things. You know.
And we'll be joining them soon, hopefully, when we get the chance.
Will you be swimming?
Yes, we'll try that as well. I mean, I miss seeing the fact that people pull into, you know, the water bodies in Ghana. It makes it difficult to swim when you go to such beaches. But I'm hoping that we'll get to
gods are in the water,
so they cleanse it. That part, I think our stuff is worse than what the gods have to consume. And so
I'm so excited because after some 3-4 days rest, Easter is almost gone.
Yeah,
After today,
Charlie, we're back to back.
those who will be working early tomorrow morning, we need to take.
Right, we are working today, early morning today.
Yeah.
Well, he's talking about maybe we're not regular. He's talking about the regular people who would now be resuming from all the days rest and coming to start.
So
I mean,
today you have to measure the way you
Exactly, that's the point. Because even if you are chilling today, don't forget that tomorrow morning you need to get up and go to work. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you'll be getting ready to retire to your homes and wherever you are. But you see, it is at that point that it gets exciting. And then that is when you have to go home. And so you have to do the balancing act properly.
But there's more excitement on the show here for you today. It's a holiday edition, so it's freestyle. You know, we'll bring you some music.
We are relaxed.
Some poetry, everything.
And that's why we've even changed the set. If they haven't noticed.
No. So if you're cooking and you want to show us love, you know, I mean,
we'll take it gladly.
It doesn't
but
change
today is World Autism Day. I mean, for many people,
we
don't seem to remember that. But again, yesterday was also April Fool's Day, and I was happy it happened on a Sunday. And so it's, you know, sort of watered down the effect of how people will pass jokes and people would do silly pranks on, you know, April Fool's Day. But it was fun. I was wondering whether the pastors were those who were going to play the pranks on the people.
I had one where this marriage invitation thing, it was all over. And so a friend sent one, my marriage invitation, only for me to open it. They said April Fool, and I said, oh God.
but yesterday I was on a page, I mean my GIJ class page, Yvonne Akowe and Zena Sansa. They get married later in April. They put up their, you know, legitimate marriage invitation. People thought that it was a joke. So somebody actually said, look, if you want us to believe it's not a joke, send it today.
Another day.
You know, but not yesterday. And I thought that, well, I mean, people are scared about doing things on, especially you wake up and somebody calls you early in the morning. Yesterday, Warai called me early in the morning. I knew it was April Fool. Because Warai can prank you.
But he could be dying. Maybe he really didn't need your help at that point.
Prank our lecturers at GIG.
Oh my goodness. And so you didn't believe him.
And this is the best time to remember loved ones and people around the world and wherever you are. And for me, some very good persons who have been great in my life. I know they're watching this morning. The Abu Bedu family, far away in Kumasi. Reverend John Abu Bedu, International Mrs. Millicent Abu Bedu. And then I know the family, Johnny, you can't believe it.
Yeah.
This is a family that has 5 daughters.
Wow.
Okay.
That's Reverend John Abu Bedu's daughters.
Pastor has 5 daughters.
5 daughters. Zoe, Bernice, Hannah, Manuela, and Betty. Anytime you get into their house, there's plenty food.
Wow.
There certainly will be.
It nearly was like the situation of Venerable Major Nia Delay Atema. He has Selena, he has about 3 daughters.
Right.
And the only thing is 1 son.
Right.
But he has plenty other, you know, nieces who hang around the house.
Exactly. So there's
the
always food
food
flowing
is always there.
Yeah.
The food is always there.
It's nice to have
as soon as you get there, they put the food in front of you.
But Johnny,
so Major and Mother, good morning to you.
Yes, what Reverend, you know, his pet name is Johnny Cash.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
He has it?
He must have it. When you have all these ladies around, you know our girls are close to their fathers.
They attempted to remove me from the family, but I refused to.
So you are
yes, I have
He's a
decided
pillar
to
in the family. You can't be moved.
Yes.
By what? By blood? By what?
Oh,
are you related
this
by
one
blood?
by sharing food and other stuff.
Concubinations. Anyway, guys.
Guys, send us your messages, of course, on WhatsApp 050-823-5228. Your holiday messages. Let's know what you're up to so we can get to share the fun with you out there. Plus, if you have some requests, toss it in. We'll see what we can do about it.
Yeah.
It's a holiday. Relax. Kick up your feet. Grab a cold drink. If you're gotten broken-hearted, it's okay. Jesus came for all of us.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, the life of Jesus, I mean, the story. Just
throw back at it should give you enough respite.
Or maybe you booked somebody for that weekend, Easter weekend, and somebody else, you know.
What do you mean by booked?
Like, okay, you had a friend, you wanted to go to the beach or something. You called him or her, and then the person said, well, I'm not here, I'm in JKT.
Oh, right.
You know, so you're broken-hearted, you wanted to go see the movies
Well, then you
together.
just go to JKT as well and join them.
If you don't have lorry fare, what do you do?
We'll give you
okay.
on
TV. Now, let's talk about autism now. And 13 years ago, Yoku Adentwi was diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder for years. That was the problem some 13 years ago. And he ran into trouble. And perhaps as we mark the day today, we'll throw the spotlight on him this morning.
The birth of a child marks a new chapter in one's life and brings much excitement to the parents. Such was Mr. and Mrs. Adentwi's experience 15 years ago. But little did they know their joy would be cut short with a life-changing experience. At age 2, Yoku was non-verbal. That was when they started seeking medical assistance. After moving from one pediatrician to the other, he was diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder, a neurological disorder that makes it difficult to interact or communicate with others.
I was in complete denial. I wouldn't agree that, because I knew about autism, or I had seen somebody living with autism, and so I was not ready to accept that.
According to them, raising an autistic child has been financially, mentally, and emotionally demanding.
Tough, tiring. It's a whole challenge, you know, trying to unearth whatever talent he has. The facilities are not there. And
they also entreated parents with special needs children not to hide for fear of stigmatization, but to seek support.
Some get better, some grow to do certain things for themselves, and they become a little bit more independent. But hey, it is taxing.
The Autism Ambassadors of Ghana are optimistic the introduction of the Autism app, which provides a picture exchange communication system, an awareness platform to learn more about the disease, would promote education about autism.
Is in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 3, that is good health and well-being, number 4, which is quality education, and number 10, that is reduced inequalities.
Yoku's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Adentwi, want government to assist the few autistic centers in the country with resources to provide guidance and training for persons living with the condition.
Well, kudos to the family there of Yoku. They have done well. It's not easy to live with a child with, you know, any of the autistic spectrum disorders. And the fact that you have a child in the family means that the whole family has a disorder, really, because you have to probably leave your job to take care of this child. You have to put in extra needs and, you know, attention for them. So I know it's not easy to have a child like that.
It's really a difficult thing. I mean, if you go to some rural communities, you find some of these kids there, and they've been left on their own. They've been branded witches and wizards and all that, and so God's spirit and such. And so you find them left on their own in a very messy situation. They are not even allowed to be seen. And I think that maybe some of these NGOs should go beyond just sitting in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Takoradi, but go to these rural areas. You see a lot of them there. Kids who will just be left on their own.
I also think that, look, while we look at the NGOs and what families are doing, because I know people, like Amma said, I mean, once a member of the family has it, it means that the entire family has that condition, because you would have to leave your job and to take care of. But what is the state doing about it? Because we have the disability laws. We have laws that are supposed to protect us socially. We have a whole ministry dedicated to gender, children, and social protection. What is it? What's their role in all of this?
Is the state interested?
Exactly.
Do we see a general
holistic view in terms of even the special schools? Do we have them? So if I go to Kanda Estate Cluster of Schools or Kaneshi Anglican or Coligon or Amakum JSS, will I find a special classroom for, or will I find a teacher who is well vexed, to be able to counsel the person and properly integrate the student or pupil. We don't get that.
No.
So if you have that condition, the Ghanaian society literally writes you off and you are left behind. I mean, even in our churches, as we celebrate Easter now, if you go in there, we're going for procession and everything else. Are they taken care of? Are they factored into the whole thing? And that's been my biggest problem. We claim to be, you know, a Christian nation. We claim to be a caring nation, but these things...
We leave some of these things.
We don't do them. Plus, I've always said, how long can we continue being a developing nation? When I was young, I had third world country. Then I had developing nation.
We're still developing.
I'm a full-grown man. I'm still hearing developing nation. What is wrong with us?
That's why the present continues. We are still doing it. We'll be doing it till eternity.
So
but you know, like you said, I think the nation doesn't really consider that part. And I keep thinking it's because the nation tends to look at things that will bring profits, things that will improve our economy, but fail to see the human resource that, of course, counts as well. Because when you have people in, you know, with these special needs who are catered for properly, they actually could be productive enough in society to contribute to the creative arts, to the science fields, because they have an amusing talent. I mean, when it comes to their brains, I think they're all special. That's why they come out with all these things. And so if you dedicate all your time and your care to them, they'll be productive, you benefit as a nation, rather than writing them off and then not just caring. Until you have a minister or someone close enough to be concerned, we all see it as a far-off issue. Let's not deal with it until it's really... it's not affecting us. But it does affect us, because you realize even the special needs school, it's just a few of them that we've concentrated so much on, and we've forgotten about the other ones, especially in the rural areas. And so you mentioned a few ones, and it's like everybody knows about that, and people even have started to think they receive too much help. Where there's nothing like too much help when it comes to special needs people. They need all the help.
I agree with you when you say that as a nation we have not taken proper care. If you look at the budget that was read not so long ago, how much of it is put there? To think that, you know, somebody who has you know, a child of that nature would have to leave their job, means they are not earning, they are not paying taxes. It means that they are not being productive on their own, because they want to take care of their own, because society will not take care of them. It's a problem. And look, I used to play in a band. We used to have a guy with autism come around. He will sit down and watch the keyboardist play the solos. When we're on break and the keyboard is on, he can recollect the solos. I mean, it's difficult to play solos. He plays them actually. Exactly, note for note. So it goes to specify what Amma says, that look, if you train them, if you give them the opportunity, because they have a repetitive tendency, it helps them to build their capacity, and they can be very productive. Look, think about having just, you know, somebody like that in a band, and then knowing that, okay, this man plays, that man plays, it gets to this point, he comes up to play the solo. Just that, it could be a wow factor for a band. Wow factor. Have we thought about it?
No. Maybe a lot more action.
We don't. And you see, we're speaking passionately because there's a parent out there who has been grappling with this issue for more than 20 years. And there's no help from anywhere. And even when you sit in public transport, I mean, nobody wants your child to be close.
If you are noticed with that kind of thing.
And I don't know where we get the thinking from that. Look, it's contagious. It is not.
Let's hope, Johnny, that the renewed spirit that we get from Easter would move into perhaps some change and attention paid to these young ones. But I was actually trying to follow the messages of some of the pastors and prophets and reverend ministers during the period. And I'm very particular about, I mean, the call for unity, where the president is being asked to use Easter to unite the country. Well, is the significance of Easter missing because of the fun attached to it, the Easter Monday, or perhaps is it because we have not done the right thing? The story of Jesus' crucifixion tells us a great deal about unity, where because of his death we saw, I think, two of the rulers. Is it Herod? I think Herod, or what another person?
Right was to go to church this morning.
They had to unite because of Jesus' death. So if the idea is to get this country to unite, if people are asking that, let us use that spirit of Easter to bring unity. For me, I am for it, because from where I sit, I think that we have, like Johnny said, we have not been able to move from a developed country to a developing country, a developed one, largely because of the disunity approach we use in getting development. One step back, and then we take two
two steps, one step forward, two steps backwards.
2-10.
So,
but again, you know, hinging on Bright's issue of whether we've lost the Easter spirit because of the celebrations is a question we're asking, because over the years, Easter celebrations and how we saw Easter has changed. The focus has moved away from the Christian aspects to the party and the fun that it comes with, and that I think is worrying.
Even though the conventions are there, but I think they've been pushed down.
They've been watered down.
I mean,
because at these conventions, they're still having them in the light of fun.
Yesterday I went back to Alma Mater, I mean, I saw, you know, some people having
using the field, the convention.
I mean, back in the day, you'd have the students go home, and then you have the take over, and they run the whole school. Now the students were there, so even the noise levels were very measured. I mean, they were kind of restricted to the Diasi Academy area. And you're thinking, okay, what's happening? How many of us are even going to conventions these days? I mean, how many of us take time to evangelize?
It used to be big in the past.
I mean, back in the day when I was a kid, I could just walk into anybody's home during Easter and have a meal of fufu. Today, you can't attempt it. If they don't know you, they will call you a thief. July.
But anyway, guys, let's hit the streets of Accra and see what you have to say about the spirit of Easter, whether we've lost it or we still have it.
Good morning and welcome to the Easter Monday of New Day here on TV3. And so let's center on the celebration. Easter is a Christian festival which marks the death and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. Ironic as it may seem, you know, it has not only been a preserve for only Christians, as many have waded in the celebrations. It's a time where people would want to go to the club, beach, and, you know, picnic, to mention but a few. And so the question is, have we lost the real essence of Easter? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
I think it's people of other religions who during this period do not believe in the Christian teachings, rather get themselves involved in the festivity and go to other interesting places to celebrate. So real Christians get themselves involved during this festivity and they acknowledge it. Definitely. They do. So we've not lost it.
Who are the real Christians?
Okay. The real Christians are true believers of Jesus Christ.
And we have them.
Who acknowledge, yes, we have some these days.
We have them,
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
As many as they are.
So
let me come.
Please wait, I know your chest. Are you saying this, that we have real Christians?
Definitely. So
because of that, the essence of Easter is not lost?
It's not lost, definitely.
What you are saying, it doesn't hold water. You see, one thing that we should... I didn't talk when you were talking. I didn't talk when you were talking. I didn't talk when you were talking. You see, you started again. I didn't talk when you were talking.
So the question is, who are the real Christians?
The real Christians are the true followers of Jesus Christ, not churchgoers. Okay, so true followers of Jesus Christ during the celebration of this festivity will rather acknowledge all the doings of the church by going for the Good Friday church service, by getting themselves involved in any other religious.
I know on Friday 3 people drowned at Tawala Beach.
Definitely.
Are they fake
I do not know
that.
I do not know that.
That is right. Okay, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But the whole thing is, Easter, you see the main purpose of it. That is to celebrate the death and resurrection. Listen to what I'm saying. The fact is that. See, and that is why we are talking about Christians. We are not talking about the other religions. We are talking about Christians.
Let's zone into Christians. There might be Muslims. There might be traditionalists. But you can also have some Christians who are wayward.
But there's nothing wrong with it. But listen, let me bring this analogy.
There are badness among Christians,
of course,
and I will not dispute that fact. But I'm saying that Christianity the celebration of the Easter festivity have not lost its concept. In the sense that it is being acknowledged by true Christians who are the followers of Jesus Christ. They follow the text of Jesus Christ. They acknowledge the teachings of the scriptures. They are not just church goers.
I go to the club, I meet those Christians you're talking about.
Okay, then I do not stand to judge, but I believe that if you are a true believer, then you rather acknowledge the concept of the Easter festivity. I'm a true believer.
Have you been
yes, I'm proud to say I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.
Are you saying that the celebration of Easter is for conventions? Do you get it? Okay. Now, there's a church that I want to mention the name. Let me talk now.
Christians.
Two Christians. You said
the festivities of the what? Really, the church.
By going to church.
By going to church. And
Good.
acknowledging all the teachings
now,
of the scriptures.
The convention.
By acknowledging
I
the
believe
teachings.
it is.
How specific?
Oh,
by acknowledging the
you
teachings of the
talk
scriptures.
out. Now, the convention is a religious organization, but that is a Christian. They organize that convention. Yeah. So, are you telling me that? Oh,
okay, no.
Let me land.
I want to bring a simple analogy to Now listen. Easter, it is a funeral for Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Good.
She yanka say man te man na edu funeral sa den ye wasi esu ye funeral na ebibi no e ho ne eniji asaka ene insan ne nyoma eniji na woso and that has been transferred onto the Easter. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what Ghanaians are, that's what Christians are doing.
Even though what he's saying exists,
maybe wearing the black attire or something.
Definitely. Even though what he's saying truly exists, I'm saying that we have still not lost the concept of Easter festivity. Why? During those moments, the true Christians acknowledge the moment. So even if there are other people, because of diversity of religion, as I said earlier, please mark my words, because I'm a man of conscious concepts. When I make any argument, I substantiate it with
So
facts.
you mean that maybe it's like, if, let's say the Easter festivities, you have traditionalists going to the club, and so that has merged the concept.
Definitely. During this, they cannot follow us to the church. Definitely.
So they say people go to the church after church. The church is 3 hours. After 3 hours, they go to the club. That's what I want to.
I'm coming. Do you know something?
That's what I want to tell you.
Oh, wait. Do you know something? Do you know something? Today.
What you are saying?
I'm coming. Today that people are watching this particular show. I want to tell them that by say 4 o'clock, I will personally come with your camera, and then we will go to the beach. That is where you will see. Oh, I'm coming. That is where you will see Christians.
Now listen.
From the church. Going to the beach.
Listen.
And what are you telling me?
Listen. It's a long week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Are you going to be church throughout all the 3 days?
That's why I'm saying that true Christians acknowledge the teachings of the scripture and thereby attend the services which is organized by the church. Okay? Rather than going to the picnics, the beaches, and other places for entertainment.
I'm coming.
Right?
Okay.
The church is also
mention the name of a church. Okay.
So
Yesterday. I'm coming. I'm not judging. Listen. Yesterday. I think there's this church I don't want to mention their name. They are having a service at the back of my house. I heard either the pastor or the MC. I'm coming. Oh, let him see what either the pastor or the MC telling the congregation. Tell the congregation that God willing tomorrow when you are coming, make sure you load your pockets.
With money.
Of course.
Make sure you load your pocket, because we are going to give it for God to bless you.
The concept in which he said that. No. Did you?
It's a live program. I would have mentioned the name of the church.
Now listen. We are not talking as if you are not Christians. I myself am a Christian. Listen, I myself am a Christian.
I know.
After you look at what happens, the scenario of 31st night.
After from church.
People, some people go to church. Just after the church, they go to the club. They go. So listen.
The praises and worship, you see
what
them
you guys
at
are
the spot.
doing, it's like you
From
are
there, they will come
that
back
all
to the
people,
church.
all Christians
Of
are
course,
fake.
it can never
I'm
be
saying,
all.
in as
But
much as there are
when you
people
generalize
who
it,
do not,
it
who
is
are
like
just
80
following
people.
the
We are talking
word
about
of
the
God, who do not
majority.
acknowledge.
We are talking about the majority here.
No, there is diversity of religion. So everyone is not a Christian. I said, in as much as there are Christians, churchgoers over there, there are real Christians who during these moments will not go to some places like the beaches. But that's what I'm saying. So what's the noise for? If you don't listen,
what about the churches organizing picnics?
Exactly.
Definitely, that is in a religious way. There are some of the things that happens. No, there are some. Yeah, there are some of the things that happen.
You say you are a Christian, right? But the scripture says that we shouldn't be mingling ourselves with unbelievers.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be mingling ourselves.
You cannot go to the club and you are telling me
you cannot go to the club and tell me that because you are wearing a straight dress and some put on a minister, so you the one wearing the
will not go to church.
They don't go.
It's a heated argument here, as you can see yourself, and discussion has been if we've lost the essence of Easter, considering the the parties, the freaks, and the hangouts during these festivities. Let us know your thoughts on this. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter is our News TV3. Happy Easter to you all, and enjoy your holiday.
Yes, have fun.
There is a Redeemer, Jesus, God's own Son, precious Lamb of God, Messiah. And thank you, oh my Father, for giving us your Son and leaving your Spirit till your work on earth is done. Your work on earth is done, and leaving your spirit till your work on earth is done. Your work on earth is done. Hallelujah. Your work on earth is done. Thank you for this cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came and gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love. Thank you for this nail-pierced hands. Your grace and flow. Now all I know is your forgiveness and embrace. Worthy is the Lamb seated on the throne. We crown you Yahweh, many crown you reign victorious. Higher lifted up.
That is beautiful music coming from Japhet Ajete Ministries. For short, he's known as Jam, or the ministries is known as Jam. And there'll be more coming from them this morning. But just to remind you that we're still celebrating Easter. And indeed, the reason for this season is still Jesus Christ. But let's move on to talk about World Autism Day, because support for people living with autism is lacking. These persons need to be self-autonomous but are unable to. As Ghana marks World Autism Day, caregivers want government to provide the needs of children with autism, and we are also being a platform to push for this. Let's see this.
World Autism Day. The day is set aside to create awareness about autism and also encourage early diagnosis and early detection. As we celebrate World Autism Day this year, we throw the spotlight on one of the institutions supporting the needs of these children. the Learning Center for Children here at the Hope Setters Autism Center here in Tema. And as I said early on, the day is set aside to create awareness about autism. So at this center, you can see some of the messages that will be rolling on that day. We have persons with autism thinks and see the world differently. Persons with autism improve with therapy. Autism appears during a child's first 3 years, and we have a host of them. Autism affects children differently. We have a lot of them here at the center. Let us talk to founder of Hope Setters Autism Center, Baba Encho. Thanks so much for joining us. First of all, we'd like to find out when was the center set up, and over the period, how has it supported these children?
Okay, Hope Setters was started about 3 years ago, and it has gone a long way to support children living with autism in Tema Metropolis and its environment, because now they don't have to travel to Accra that distance to get education or get support. So they come here. We give them social skills, we give them training in self-help skills, we give them training in speech and language, behavior management, and basic academic skills. That's what we do with them here basically.
For him, what is he doing? Why?
Okay, he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to do anything today, and so he's giving out this behavior. Any activity that we give him, he just pushes aside. So we just want to give him a break for some time, and then we'll see the next thing to do with him when he calms down, because if he's in this mood, he won't do anything. So we would let him the carer take him out for a while for him to cool down, and then he'll come back to his activities.
Well, so apart from taking him outside, is there a way that you can find out from him exactly what he wants to do?
We've given him pictures. We try to give him pictures of different activities that he does in a day, so he can choose what he wanted, and he just pushed all the pictures away. It means he just wants a time off. So that's what we'll give him, and he'll cool down for a while, and then we'll bring him back into the classroom.
Well, so this brings the question. We know that you are doing a lot for these children, so they know exactly what they want to do and what not to do. They come from homes, their parents, guardians, people they live with. How are they able to know exactly what is wrong? For example, this boy, if the mother, do you give them some training of that sort?
Yes, we do parents training, we have parents meetings, we have a WhatsApp group that if parents have issues they can ask questions on, and then we'll support them in that way. And then every morning too, they come in here with their kids. And so if the parent is having a particular issue, they just come in the morning, tell us about it, and then we give them the various strategies to use with the child.
How challenging is it for you as the founder of this? We'll ask some of your facilitators or the teachers, but for you as the founder of this school, how challenging has it been for you?
It's been very challenging, first because I don't have that much space for me to be able to assist every child that comes in here, and I need very good trained personnel to be able to run this place, because I can't do it all by myself, and which means that I have to do the training of the teachers too by myself, so that they'll be able to take care of the children and support them in the classrooms. We've had challenges of people not being able to come in here because of the distance. Though we are in Tema, we have people who live around Michelle Camp and all that, or Spintex Road, and it's difficult for them to also come here to access our services.
So I see divisions here in the classroom. What exactly do they do? So for this class, what do they do?
Okay, so this is the Apple class. They've been grouped according to their capabilities and their age. And now what they are doing, the theme for this term is bathroom, things in the bathroom. So we have various things that we use in the bathroom here, and the child is supposed to turn and look for the same thing and also label, because the teacher is also going to label it to the child.
Let me find out from the teacher how the children are learning what they're teaching them. Is it at a pace that you want it, or they are trying?
They are trying very hard, and it's things that we want them to know as individuals that they are supposed to do for themselves, that they don't need anybody to prompt them. So when he wakes up and said, "Selector, please give me toothbrush," he will be able to identify it by himself and then do whatever he wants to use the toothbrush to.
So for him, how long has he been doing this, and you know, how fast has he been able to know exactly what you're teaching?
For the start, we started this month. So for the start, early beginning of this month, it was a bit slow and difficult for him to be able to identify, but now he's picking up gradually.
Let me talk to him. Hello, how are you? You're fine. What's your name? Can you show me where toothbrush is? Toothbrush. Wow, okay. Clap for yourself. You've done well. Is it not because he knows that everyday shower is here?
No, we change the positions of the pictures. We don't always place them where you see them today. We always change after the activity. We change for them to be just to make sure they know what we are talking about and they know what they are picking.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And so with much commitment supporting facilities like this, these children will be able to do things on their own. Let's move on to other classrooms, what they're doing. Hello. What are you doing?
Rice play.
Rice play. Yes. Ah, that's good. So let me join and see exactly what this rice play is all about. Hello, pretty little. What are you doing? Rice play. Do it and let me see. So what is the rice play all about?
Rice play is all about, we use the rice play to get their attention, eye contact, but for now what we are doing, we are improving on their fine motor skill. That's why we're using the rice play. That is the fetching and the pouring.
So how will you rate their performance for her? How long has she been doing it, and when you tell her to do it, exactly what you want, are you able to identify that you are making progress?
Yes, we are making progress. Both of them are doing very well, but she's a little down, but she's improving. For her, she's doing it for the eye contact.
Are you excited about what you're doing? Are you excited about what you're doing? Yes. Okay, so she's nodding, meaning that she understands what I am saying. Do it and let me see. Do it and let me clap for you. Okay. Do it again. Fetch the rice. Fetch. Wow, clap for her. So that's great job. And for these children, would you say that without this they cannot do for the example the eye contact and getting the attention? Without this, can't they do anything?
No, it doesn't come naturally to them. So you need to really work on them. For Kukwa, you need to work on her to be able to get her eye contact for some time so you can get her attention. Because if it's, and autism affects their speech and language. Now, if you need to communicate with somebody, the person needs to give you the attention. The person needs to give you some eye contact for some time. So it's all towards their communication skills. That's how come we are doing all these things.
Hello. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm drawing.
You are drawing. Drawing what? You're shading color G, the letter G, right? So he wrote the G himself?
He's with drawing. He really likes to draw. And usually he wants to draw animals and draw them according to the alphabet. So he'll draw his G, the small G, and then draw the animal. And he'll make it very detailed so that you know what he's drawing. And that is Marvin's twin brother.
Okay. So for him, apart from drawing, or that is where his interest lies most?
Yes, that's where his interest lies. But apart from that, he does very well with academic work. He can now identify some of the CD notes that we have. Yes, and he understands that this is 50 Ghana, this is 10 Ghana, this is 20 Ghana. He has some amount of speech, so he's able to tell you his needs, unlike the other one who was just giving us that tantrum. He will be able to tell you, I want this, I want to do this, or I don't want to do that.
In fact, I like the way he's going up. He's drawing with so much ease.
Yes, yes.
Much ease. You know, the way he wrote the letter H.
He has naturally, yes. Nobody taught him to draw. He just knows how to draw.
But this is his class, and looking at the different people that are in the same class, he likes to draw. This one likes to do some other things. Putting all of them in one class, won't it affect him or any of?
Right now what we have is individual work. So they've in the morning they've done group work as a class. So now they have individual interest work. So he likes to draw. He's doing the drawing. He likes the bubble, so he's on the bubble for a while. And it's usually for 30 minutes, and then you have a break and you do another thing. And Juliana here is working on fine motors because she has issues. Juliana has mild cerebral palsy. Yes, so she has issues with her fine motor skills and her fingers. So she's trying to put those papers in and then pull them all out when she's done.
So you are doing a great job here. But I want to find out from you. Last time you were in Parliament, you were part of the team that went to Parliament. I want to find out exactly what you people did in Parliament the other day.
Okay, we went to Parliament to present a petition which basically says that we need government support, and that the fact that the children have the right to education, and so we need them to be able to create that facility so that these children will be able to go to mainstream school with a facilitator in the classroom. Most schools are not accepting that. And then also that the government will realize that there are lots more people coming up with autism, and so the support that persons with disability get, we also need to get. Usually people don't regard us as we also having a disability and needing that much help, so we need that much help too from government. So that's how come the various centers came together and we went to the Parliament House. And of course we took some of the children so they understand what we are talking about. Yes.
But when you went to Parliament, what was the reaction? You went with them. I know they might have done a lot of noise and all that. What was the reaction there?
Yes, I remember one of the ladies who worked there telling me, "Oh, madam, can you control the child?" And I'm like, he can't be controlled. That when the speaker comes, there'll be so much noise, he won't tolerate. I said, let the speaker understand that this is a child with autism, or these are children with autism. And so, fortunately for us, the speaker understood. So when he sat down, that was the first announcement that he made to the honorable members in the House that we have persons with special needs and like autism, persons with autism in the house. And so if they hear noises coming from upstairs, it's because we're there. And we made sure that our presence was felt.
By doing what?
By the children making them know and being themselves. I think it should be given urgent attention, because we came there, parents, teachers, students, children with autism, and that alone should let them know that there are people in Ghana who have to live with these children 24/7. There are parents who have to go through everything and also work to make sure they fend for these children. So I think it's with a matter of urgency, just like they will approve of their cards and all other things in Parliament.
On the day, what exactly would you be doing?
Because 2nd of April this time is on Sunday, or 1st of April for us in Tema Hope Setters, we are organizing a walk through some principal streets of Tema. We'll come back to the center after the walk. We have exhibition of some of the things that the children do. We have snack. We talk about autism. Whilst we are going on the walk, we'll also be sharing flyers, and it's all as a way of creating awareness in the Tema municipality.
Thanks so much for welcoming us here to the Hope Setters Autism Center in Tema. We are grateful, and I must say you're doing really good job here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, so as you said, members of Parliament, when this petition gets to them, they should give the maximum attention that they would give to all other issues that concerns them urgently. AC Benewanyame, Hope Setters Autism Center here in Tema.
So we're still talking about World Autism Day, and I'm going to be speaking to Alice Mamaga. She's the founder for Autism Association of Ghana, and also Rosemond Jimai Champon. She's an educationist, a member of ASOG, and also a mother of a child with autism. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And happy Easter. But let's delve more. It's also World Autism Day, so of course, let's talk about it. First of all, just tell me briefly how to be able to identify a child who has autism.
So basically, when we talk about autism, autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects the senses of a child. Autism is not a physical disability, so you wouldn't just see a child see something different on their body and assume that this child has autism, but the triad of impairment has to do with communication, interaction, and imagination. So basically, when we talk about autism, it has to do with a child who has difficulty in communicating and interacting with people.
But Rosemond, let me come to you. You have an interesting combination. You're an educationist and also a mother of a child who has autism. Tell me a bit about your child. How old is he or she?
Yeah, my son is Papanti. Yeah, he is 7 years of age.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for you, this would have been your first child with this disorder. And so having identified the signs and symptoms he showed, how did you deal with it? And how have you been able to use your educationist background to also help him?
It came as a blow. Yeah, when I was, he was first diagnosed with autism. I didn't even know what the word was. I hadn't seen anybody or met anybody with autism to know what it was. So I went on the internet, and what I saw there, most of them wasn't anything interesting. Yeah, very discouraging scenes. It's something that is incurable, something that the child has to live with for life and stuff. And so it was a very difficult thing for me to accept it, that my child, because I have taught a lot of kids in this country for 24 years, and I wasn't expecting such a thing, but I finally had to accept. So initially I was refusing diagnosis.
You were in denial.
Yeah, and then finally I heard that early intervention also plays a key, so I had to accept it.
So what are some of the things you did to help Papa?
A lot. A lot. When you come to my house now, it's like I run a school, but I have only one child, Papa. Yeah, and because I created awareness last year, I have families I support. So they come around and then they look at what I do. Papa is a lively boy. Yeah, if you meet him and I don't tell you, or no, he doesn't come up with any mannerisms, you hardly could see that, yeah, something is wrong with him. A very handsome boy. But he is hyperactive, you know. Sometimes he will even escape from car. No, he's done that 3 times. And it was a very awful scene. Because one happened at Madina Zongo Junction. Wow. Yeah,
a very busy place.
Very busy place. Yeah, I nearly wee-weed on myself.
Oh, I can imagine.
I didn't know which of the pedals to choose. Yeah, but God being so good, yeah, we've been able to train because we had assistance from different areas, from centers. Yeah, so Papa, when you come to my house, I have a lot of therapies I run. Yeah, that helps him. Yeah, we do water therapy. They love water. Yeah, and so even if you don't have a pool, or you can't take them to poolside, you can create some in the house. Yeah, so I have a simple container that has
filled with
that.
Water.
Yeah, and then as an educationist, I come in with rhymes and stuff and make it interesting because you want language. Papa is non-verbal. You see, some of the children with autism, some are verbal, some are non-verbal. Yeah. But Papa is non-verbal. It's now picking speech.
Okay, Auntie Rosemond, because you're an educationist, kindly teach our viewers what you mean by verbal and non-verbal.
Yeah, when I say a child is verbal, yeah, a child is verbal. The child can talk to you. Yeah, you call relate to the child. Yeah, and you call get response. But with a non-verbal child, you know, the child, you talk to the child, no response, no speech. Yeah, and so you will have to train the child to be able to understand yeah, your way of doing things.
Nice. But Mamaga, let me come to you as well, because you've come up with an app. And so what does the app seem to do for children with autism?
So basically the Autism Aid app provides an awareness platform. So today being World Autism Day, we are expecting that people will use their various social media pages to promote awareness, and then they have to know more about autism. So the app provides an awareness platform where people can read and get adequate information about autism. Also, as Auntie Rosemond was saying, we have nonverbal kits. So the app has a picture exchange communication system that helps children living with autism to be able to have a medium of interacting with people. The app also provides a helpline. We know information for caring for these children are very, very important. So we've provided a helpline on it where parents use that platform to get connected to professionals on how to care for their wards. Also, we realize that other parents need the support and services, but they do not have smartphones, and most of them are not on Android. So last week we launched the new version of the app that comes with a USSD code *800 *24#. You can dial it on any phone on any network.
I can take that slowly again, just in case viewers are noting it down.
So the code is *800 *24#. If you dial it on any phone or any network, it welcomes you to the services of Autism Ambassadors of Ghana. So as a parent or a family, you can get support for your child. So basically, that is what the Autism Aid app does. It's available on the Google Play Store for downloads.
Are they paying for anything at all?
No. To download the app is free, but to use the helpline, you have to subscribe for it to be able to stay on throughout the month and the year.
Okay, so let me come back to you, Auntie Rosemond. Having interacted with some of these mothers or parents who have children with autism, do you think Ghana as a whole or government is doing enough for these children?
Not at all, actually. We are expecting, because just as any other epidemic breaks up and government intervenes, this is more than an epidemic. But because it's not evident and people are not dying, but the mess is causing. It's even more than we can think of. Yeah, because it's affecting families, it's affecting schools, it's affecting the entire society as we talk. Yeah, it breaks down the system. If you have one autistic child in a school, yeah, there's a lot more that has to be done.
Okay, so Autism Ambassadors, in terms of you know, inclusive education, are you pushing forward? Are you engaging government to help with that in any way?
Yes, so we are really pushing forward for the inclusive education agenda. So this year, Autism Ambassadors of Ghana partnered with Inclusion Ghana to be able to help us go on field to help the children in their basic schools for the inclusion program. So we've started working on it. And actually, that is one main reason why we have the picture exchange communication system there, so that the children would have a means of communicating with others around them in school. So we've started working for the inclusive education agenda.
Right. So based on the statistics you have, can you, off the top of your head, give me a fair idea of the number of children in Ghana who have autism? Or at least maybe in Accra. I don't know if you have the whole Ghana, but if the number you have on your platform.
According to CDC, Center for Disease Control, they give all the statistics on health to the UN, and then they've stated that 1% of the population of every country are children with autism. So you could imagine we have over 26 to 27, million.
Well, now we are 29.4.
29. So it tells you around 29 million children living with autism.
Anyway, guys, but the story is not all gloomy out there. That's what I think viewers should go home with. The fact that if you have a child with autism, there's still help out there. Like you have created the app to help them. Auntie Rosemond is there, and there are others who have also gained, experience.
I think it's time we all look at the abilities of these children beyond their disabilities. So, for instance, during the launch of the new version of the Autism Aid app, we outdoored 3 autism girls and then 2 boys with autism as global icons of the app. These girls I'm talking about are working as models.
They were beautiful pictures.
Beautiful and amazing young girls. And beyond that, we have children with autism who are into painting. These beads I'm wearing, for instance, were designed by children with autism at the Autism Awareness Care and Training Center in Kokomlimli. It's so lovely. There is something that children can do. It's always better we focus on their abilities and neglect their disabilities. In that way, they can help the society to become better.
They certainly can. Auntie Rosemond, so any final words from you as well?
Yeah, what I will tell everyone viewing is that the prevalence rate is coming down, and as at 2000, when you take 150 kids, we had one with autism. By 2010, 68 kids, you have one with autism. Yeah, and then we have it affects more boys than girls. Yeah, so what I'm telling the whole world is that today being World Autism Day, if you are hearing us and you don't have anybody who has autism, please, you may have a friend who is suffering from autism, but you haven't heard of it. You may have an auntie or a colleague or a church member. So it's affecting everybody. Yeah, so please do create awareness everywhere you are, even in your office.
Today is a blue day.
Yeah, today is a blue day. Yeah, that's why you see us.
After this, I will change into blue and join the bandwagon. But I'd like to thank you so much, Mama Alice Mamagan, the founder for Autism Ambassadors of Ghana, and also Auntie Rosemont Jimai Champon. She's an educationist, member of ASOG, and a mother of a child with autism. But let's go into the life of 13-year-old Yoku Adentri, who was diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder. For 13 years, his parents have lived in self-denial, praying and hoping for a divine intervention, until eventually his mother had to give up her lucrative job to take care of him. As Ghana joins the rest of the world to celebrate World Autism Day, Joycelyn Wood spent some time with Yoku and has come through with this report. Let's watch this.
The birth of a child marks a new chapter in one's life and brings much excitement to the parents. Such was Mr. and Mrs. Adentri's experience 15 years ago. But little did they know their joy would be cut short with a life-changing experience. At age 2, Yoku was non-verbal. That was when they started seeking medical assistance. After moving from one pediatrician to the other, he was diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder, a neurological disorder that makes it difficult to interact or communicate with others.
I was in complete denial. I wouldn't agree that, because I knew about autism, or I had seen somebody living with autism, and so I was not ready to accept that.
According to them, raising an autistic child has been financially, mentally, and emotionally demanding.
Tough, tiring. It's a whole challenge, you know, trying to unearth whatever talent he has. The facilities are not there. And
they also entreated parents with special needs children not to hide for fear of stigmatization, but to seek support.
Some get better, some grow to do certain things for themselves, and they become a little bit more independent. But hey, it is taxing.
The Autism Ambassadors of Ghana are optimistic the introduction of the Autism app, which provides a picture exchange communication system, an awareness platform to learn more about the disease, would promote education about autism.
Is in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 3, that is good health and well-being, number 4, which is quality education, and number 10, that is reduced inequalities.
Yoku's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Adentri, want government to assist the few autistic centers in the country with resources to provide guidance and training for persons living with the condition.
Anyway, beside I'm a wire bassa saying, Wouldn't say, maybe. What to me, I didn't oh, baby, I'm oh, baby, Edieni we bisati ama waye basase Unim se wonyami bi Otumi adinye naye Edieni we bisati Ama waya basase Oh Put himself wonyami bi Otimi adinye naye Hey yeah yeah Obeyama Akwe Ninemo Obeyama Akwe Ninemo Obeyama Akwe Ninemo Obeyama Akwe Ninemo Akwe Ninaremo Obeyama 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 Akwe Ninaremo Obeyama
Here on TV3. Now, have you ever had the misfortune of traveling a footbridge that has great potential of ending your life or perhaps bringing heavy harm to you? Well, that's the unfortunate situation of the residents and traders and workers at the Asylum Down, a suburb here in Accra. Community Connect took a trip there and has filed this report.
She used to be slender, elegant and graceful, but maybe not anymore. The Asylum Down Bridge sits at the epicenter of the beautiful city of Accra, with the Ring Road Central and some traders as her closest neighbors, within the Asylum Down North Ridge electoral area in the Greater Accra region. The bridge serves thousands of regular and new users, mainly respectable citizens of Ghana and the working class, drawn largely from among the lively, low and bubbly. But despite her central importance, she has been left to break apart silently, piece by piece, and her total collapse may come sooner than expected, perhaps with a lifelong traumatizing and devastating effect. At 53, she continues to serve regardless of the wear and tear. Conspicuously, the Asylum Down Bridge appears stressed and broken-hearted, and her users share in her sentiments as well. The storm drain over which she stands cannot support its own seams. Rather, filth and silt have taken center stage, singing their own chorus with the flamingos in the disheartening affairs of the Asylum Down gutter. A typical case of a troubled bridge over dirty waters. Things have fallen apart and the center can no longer hold. But mustn't she be congratulated and immediately replaced for all these years of hard labor and disrepair? A neighboring bridge has broken down and its remnants continue to lie in the gutter for as long as the authorities permit. The Community Connect team was told that the 1995 floods weakened it, and the June 3, 2015 disaster was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Is this another subject for our maintenance and safety culture? The traders on the sidelines, the collapsing Asylum Down Bridge, have their own fears too, but they don't want to be heard on tape. Have they become used to the danger? Are they fed up with the long, winding maze of bureaucracy? Or have they complained so many times already that repeating themselves can make them sound like a broken record? The 50 years plus bridge has extensive cracks that efficiently exposes the iron rods meant to be concealed in the concrete. One can feel it tremble while treading on it. Even the ramp, designed and reserved for persons with disability, is not spared. Half of the cement screeding is gone. Where? No one knows. It is obvious that the Asylum Down footbridge needs urgent attention. But do the authorities realize this too? Here is Mr. Ebo Mensah. He is the assembly member for the Asylum Down North Ridge electoral area.
I've seen that people are not happy.
I'm not so happy because day in and day out, when the crowds get formed, you get scared because definitely when it rains, your attention will be drawn.
Look at that tree, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that the other time some people raised concerns that it could fall off and fall on the electric wire and cause mayhem.
Yes, it's true. Even you shouldn't think of this pole. There's 11,000 kV, 11,000 volts cable under the tree. So definitely when it falls, definitely it can cause havoc.
What are we doing about it? This has been here for some time.
I've reported this thing to ECG. They are aware. They are coming to work on it. As far as I'm concerned, I have reported this thing many times to the assembly, the city authorities. And you see, as I said, the assembly can do its part, but the rest lies on the government. It is a policy that the government had to come in.
Are you helpless in this situation?
I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless when it comes to this. I'm not helpless. We are doing our best to save the situation. But where it got into, I think the bigger people had to come in to survey the issue. Sometimes the bureaucracy are not necessary. It's unnecessary. Sometimes we need a knee-jerk reaction. There are some things we had to take serious approach to it before these bureaucracies. We can pull it down and sublet it to a contractor for him to do. Once the contractor is doing, we may sit around the table and find out this is the proper sole sourcing we are talking about. This should be the sole sourcing. If I have my way, I will declare this area a state of emergency. You can see, just check under the bridge. You could see that the pallets are almost gone. So the next rain, that should tell you, my concern is it may rain in the afternoon whilst people are crossing. Who knows what will happen? It can just capsize inside and it will affect lives. So I feel we can block this. They call the place as danger area. But when you call it,
when are you going to do that?
When you call it, where are the people going to pass through?
Between life and where the people are going to pass, which do you choose?
That is why we are going to take decision on it. You could see the markings. We just took this marking last 2 weeks. I am know for sure that contractors have been. They are discussing on it.
Are we going to cordon out off first?
That is to me, this place to be corded off.
So take the decision. You have it. Take it.
I can't take it unilaterally. We should sit at the committee to come out with the reason why I feel. Definitely we are going to meet either after Easter, Tuesday. Okay. Environmental subcommittee will be meeting together with disaster, which I'm both chairman to that committees. So we are going to take urgent decision to make sure that the place is going to be covered out and make sure that nobody walks over the bridge. Because I'm afraid if it rains this night, hey, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. The filth that you see come from Nima, Mamobi, Alajo, and environs. They just throw them in the gutter. Just pass through Deonston School up to Mamobi. Go and see heaps, fridges, containers. They are refuge from their homes. They pile out at the messes of the gutter, thinking the crowds will form. They will just throw it in. One day I took this upon myself and my team. We went there. We were nearly lynched. Because who asked us to come to that far to control them? Don't they have the assembly members?
Ivy is a resident at Asylum Down. She enjoys her daily morning walks, and this bridge is a necessary evil that aids her to cross the gap over this huge storm drain. Hear her worst fears.
It's scary because the bridge is virtually caving in, and I use it almost every other day when I'm going for my morning walks. Each time I get on it, I sort of get the shivers because just this morning I use it, and when I got on it, it just occurred to me that what if it should cave in?
Is the National Disaster Management Organization, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and the folks in charge of drains waiting for a disaster to happen before they rush to wallow in pity parties, grab photo opportunities to make speeches, distribute relief items and compensation, and just go back to sleep again? These helpless people are not asking for a gold-plated bridge. They are demanding safety and care to keep them outside the domain of fear. For workers like Agnes, who commute from one side to the other, the disheartening state of affairs, characterized by the foundation of the pillars that have been washed away, paints a scary, near-gory picture in her subconscious mind.
Anytime I walk on this bridge, I don't feel safe because I feel anything can happen at any time. Looking at the way this is very risky. It's very risky, and I think the government should, or whoever is responsible for this should really take a second look at this. Because trust me, the number of people who use this bridge, I don't know, but I think the government should do something about it.
Let this sink in for a few minutes, and then you can ask along with us in unison, who will fix this mess?
And so those are the frustrations of the people here at Asylum Down. This bridge plays a major role in their lives. How it's been left to deteriorate onto this point and how the cracks are widening by the day continues to baffle my mind. But for us at Community Connect, we are concerned about the safety of the people here at Asylum Down. And look around, all the squalor, the dirt, the stench in its totality is so baffling. Who will fix this mess? For Community Connect, this is Johnny Hughes, Asylum Down, Accra.
Next on Community Connect, we will share with you the harrowing story of Mr. Kisi, who walked up to us to pour his heart out about how this bridge has cost him dearly.
All right, so some great stuff there. The very genesis of Ghanaian music, high life, palm wine music there. And of course, we're making your Monday, Easter Monday, a great one whilst you get ready to go to your picnics and to have fun to wrap up the Easter festivities. This is New Day, and let's stay on this tangent and go to the Volta region, where at precisely Vome, port makers have asked government to incorporate the poultry industry into one district, one factory policy. This, they believe, would help generate employment opportunities and boost economic growth.
People engage in various forms of professions in order to earn a living. Pot making is one of such professions for the people of Vume, a community in the South Ton district of the Volta region. But their activities are fraught with challenges. The poultry business is a source of livelihood for many communities. In Ghana, the Vume community in the South Ton district of the Volta region is noted for their artistry pot making. Poultry products include household items such as bowls, stoves, ovens, storage jars, plates, platters and dishes, water and flower pots. History has it that the poultry business has been embraced by successive generations. The industry provides employment to more than 2,000 people. The women go through a lot to make the colorful and uniquely designed pots and other wares.
As for design, if you sleep, you can see in your dream.
However, access to credit and low patronage is affecting the business.
They are doing well, but only that they are not able to get the marketing for the industry. So most of them, they complain that they have made the pots plenty in their rooms, but because they don't get market for them, it has made them to relax.
If we were to have our own market and then painting and sell them, it can help us. When they come and deposit or order, they used to give us less money. And this money cannot go send it to any far. So we have to sometimes use our own strength.
The community has abundant clay deposits. However, it is difficult to extract the material, especially during Harmattan. As a result, some pot makers depend on laborers. With simple digging devices, they extract the soil.
At times it's very hard to dig because it was not raining. The more we dig, the more we expect water from the ground.
The Vume Poultry Association wants government to include the industry in the one district, one factory plan.
The research that others have made is for 300 years we can be having this clay here without problem. If there is a way that the government can rule in its policy of one district, one factory, so that they can also be beneficiary of these good policies. Because for years they've been looking for investors to come to their aid, but they don't get it.
Ghana stands the chance of benefiting tremendously from the poultry industry if the sector is supported. Talk about employment and revenue generation. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Vume.
The porters there asking for support, but you saw that great palm wine high life, and it's a Monday, and that's how we do it. We're giving you more of that, and I'm told a group has a lot more this morning to offer whilst you get ready to step out. Let's once again join the group. They are ready. Getting excited more and more in the studio here. The group Kwanpa additional some great high life tunes there. Certainly this is a type of group you need for an Easter holiday. There is more right on this show, but now let's talk about issues of health, and we're talking about women and pregnancy. In some parts of the Upper West region, some women will not go to health facilities to deliver because of taboos within the community in which they live. At Kulung in the Wa East District, women won't attend antenatal care because the customs and traditions of that community bars them from doing that. Let's follow what happens there in that community.
In their house, they have, it's a taboo for them to go to the facility to deliver. And they continue telling them that they shouldn't go there to deliver.
They have all believed this for years. They have not questioned it because it is a taboo. Women are not allowed to deliver at the health facility from Kulung community.
This is from the ancestral period, from generation to generation, that their grandparents have vowed that they should never go to the hospital to deliver. And that is a taboo to go to the hospital or facility to deliver. And that the reason is that if they refuse and go there and deliver, the child will die. And that they had a first experience, that a woman went there and delivered, and she came home, and later on the child died.
Some have 1, 2 or 3, and they have done it at home. The reason is fear of going against tradition. They are men told of what led to this taboo. Community leaders have a change of mind now following interventions by the district health management team.
The
first time, if somebody was in labor, the TBAs will come around and they will put in pressure on the woman, push without any support. And in the course of that kind of pressure, push, the woman could even lose her life. But because of the interaction between Ghana Health Service, there has been changes because they've adopted to accept to go to the health service to deliver. And all those challenges have now been addressed. They no longer don't experience that kind of difficulty in childbirth.
The upgrading of the Yala Health Center by the district health management team will totally change this.
The maternity ward we are building is not going to, be an ordinary maternity ward. The initiative is that we are having a future plan that we want to build it so that it will have the theater status.
The women of Kulung now understands the need to deliver at health facilities. This is expected to improve maternal mortality. All right, and we'll be talking about issues of women pregnancy, issues of mental health, and other health issues very soon. But what's making your Monday Easter more exciting? The group Kwanpa is here. I'm sure you'll be relishing another bout of palm wine high life. So I'm handing you over to the group. They will entertain us more.
Sujeni bi kwa wariasi, awariasi o sujeni bi kwa wariasi. Akasa baya watie siabonte. Ayonku semti odia semnu tuja. Sujeni bi kwa wariasi, awariasi o sujeni bi kwa wariasi. Akasa baya watie siabonte. Ayonko semti odia semno ne nam toano nareka oni pebia wasemka oni pebia wonkomo onyansani pentemti nempenkeka onyansani pentemti nempe toano nareka oni pebia wasemka Oni pebia wonkomo onyansani pentemti nempenkeka onyansani pentemti nempenkeka onyansani pentemti nempe onyansani pentemti nempenkeka sudeni bi kwa wariasi awariasi o sudeni bi kwa wariasi akasa baya watie siabonte Ayonko semti odia semno tuja sujeni bi kwa wariasi awariasi o sujeni bi kwa wariasi akasa baya watie siabonte Ayonko semti odia semno ne nam toano nareka oni pebia wasemka oni pebia onkomo onyansani pentemti nempe onyansani pentemti nempe onyansani pentemti nempe onyansani pentemti nempe keka krache chiko emfa wo nka yen wate unim nipa ye yanka wasori efiri da bere ho krache message chiko emfa wo nka yen wate unim nipa ye yanka wasori efiri da bere ho krache chiko me na me ye doctor no krache chiko me na me ye lawyer no enti de me nso so me ne mo kire man me yi wa film paso de wako ba bia ho enyu chiko me ne finance officer me na me ye MP no enti de me nso so me ne mo kire man me yi wa film paso de wako ba bia
All right, and we're still making sure you have an exciting Monday morning, Easter holiday. I guess you're getting ready to step out, but you have to stay right here because we'll be dishing out more of those palm wine high life whilst we discuss health. This morning, you just saw the story from the Upper West region where the women there would not attend health facilities because of taboo, some cultural norms in their communities. And of course, persons with mental disabilities and access to healthcare. We'll be taking a look at that. My guest this morning is a technical advisor at the Human Rights Advocacy Center, Wendy Abbey. Wendy, good morning. Hope you're doing great.
Very well.
How's your Easter?
Yeah, it's all right. Taking time off to rest. Yes.
Great. Let's begin from here. Is it surprising that in the 21st century, and from where we have come from, with some taboos, some norms in some communities bar women from accessing healthcare, particularly pregnant women? Is it strange?
Well, interestingly, it may not be strange to the people that live in the communities.
Right.
And for those of us who are not in the communities, it is important also to understand their perspective. But moving forward, we'd have to look into engaging in progressive conversations.
Right, with the community.
Exactly, with the community.
For you people, for instance, at the Human Rights Advocacy Center, this is one of the challenges I guess you might be taking.
Exactly, and the issues of culture and traditions spans across all areas of life. It's about people's identities, about people's unique experiences. But I think it's time we take second look at how we can engage in constructive conversations where we look at the histories of these taboos or cultural notions surrounding issues, and then pretty much looks at how we can refocus on issues that pertains to the persons in those communities.
And pull up some change.
Exactly.
Right. Now, let's talk about persons with mental disabilities and access to health. You have engaged them at all levels, and you've known what they go through, their challenges, the difficulties and all that. Is healthcare for persons with mental disabilities readily available?
The question would be also to look at where you are located. Yes, so you cannot generally say it's readily available.
Depending on where you are.
Depending on where you are. So there are the regional dynamics, there are the district dynamics, geographical dynamics basically. There are also the dynamics to whether you can afford these services. And basically, generally, you'd have close to 650,000 persons, we are told, that live with mental disabilities. And even with that, there are different shades of disabilities. So you have to look at what shade of disability you are talking about and what services are available across which spectrum of location or populations who can actually afford those services.
Right. Now, even before we then delve into the shades of disabilities and the services they can access, now when you say that, it depends on where you are. Are you suggesting that perhaps if we divide the country into rural and urban, one of these two would have a disadvantage in terms of access to care?
Most definitely, because what makes up an urban community tells us that, okay, there's infrastructure, there are services that meet the growing population, the needs of the growing population. And what actually also makes up a rural area tells the other side of the story, which usually they are disadvantaged, even in terms of their capacity, in terms of earnings to afford certain services. Exactly.
Now, okay, so those in urban centers are better off in terms of access?
Yes, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of services, in terms of even the numbers of psychiatric nurses or psychiatrists or psychologists to actually make themselves available to even work in facilities. So you have those dimensions also coming into play.
Then you talk about shades and the shades of mental disability, and then the kind of service that you can go for. Can you explain that?
So let me just cite an example where at the initial stage of any form of mental illness, you probably will need just a psychologist to give you counsel. at this point, we know that there are a lot of attempts being made to mainstream mental health treatment. But you ask yourself, at what level? You can talk of the big hospitals that actually have psychologists present at the moment. You talk of Kolebu, you talk of Ifian Kwanta, you talk of 37, you talk of Ridge, Lekma Hospital, all those places. But beyond those points, if you develop any form of mental illness, which require you to go beyond just having
the psychologist,
yes,
you have a difficulty.
Exactly. So that is the
Then again, let's also jump into the issue of those in rural communities. Now, if that is their situation, then how do they access care?
Right. So generally, there's an aspect of mental treatment that is not often spoken about, or even when it's spoken about, usually the reports are in bad taste. So we can talk of persons who provide traditional forms of treatment.
Mental treatment?
Exactly. So you have operators of traditional mental health centers who sort of trying to meet the gap in treatment for persons with mental illness. And so you have these forms of treatment that, first of all, in terms of disadvantages that persons located in rural areas have to access orthodox treatment, they find these other forms of treatment more readily available, sometimes more convenient also.
Is it the best?
Best is relative, like I said, depending on what shade of illness you're talking about, and also whether in our setting we have actually advanced the scientific proof of most of these treatments. But because nonetheless,
I'm not cutting, but in some situations where you've seen these centers where some people are chained, I mean, the person just has I don't know how to put it, but a quick bout of attack, and so he or she is his or her behavior changes, and he or she is taken to this place, and sometimes they are chained, all as part of the treatment process. Is this the best in those rural communities?
Perhaps in terms of what we would say the rights-based approach, it is not. Looking at how you provide conditions that are more dignifying when you are treating mental illness. So it is not. And of course, you have the mental health authority, taking steps to engage in conversations with the operators and also to unshackle most of these persons held in these centers. So generally, as a human rights condition for persons who are supposed to be in dignified environments for treatment, we would say it is not. So it is important also that, but the forms of treatment, some of them actually have been verified, and
they've been proven to be. So you're suggesting that these traditional mental health operators, they have a huge role in taking care of the mentally disadvantaged.
Most definitely, and we have authorities like Mental Health Authority who are aware that they have a huge role to play. The current Mental Health Act actually makes provision or cites them that these other forms of treatment, particularly spiritual forms of treatment, should come under some form of collaboration where Mental Health Authority works with them actually to see that the needed conditions prevail in those places.
And
so
the operations are regulated?
So there are different forms of operators in the field. So there are persons who use just basically herbal treatment. And most of these forms of treatment provided by these persons are regulated by the Alternative Medicines Practitioners Council. So there's actually a council that was set up based on an act that was passed on traditional medicine practice in Ghana. There are others who do not fall under the spectrum of this act or licensed by the council.
So they are those who engage in all kinds of illegal activity.
So it's very highly probable that some of them actually do not have any monitoring or oversight authority over their activities,
and that's why people get chained for years.
Exactly. So you have a lot of them. But increasingly you have a lot of NGOs like Basic Needs, My Freedom, our organization. Mental Health Authority itself actually working to engage with these operators.
Yes. So in this conversation of treatment of mental health, mental illness, now what is it that can be done to get the conversation to the level we want it to get to? So
mostly we want this approach to be taken, that at the end of the day, these other forms of treatment are authentically Ghanaian. You go to other places in the oriental places, you can talk of Chinese having their own forms of traditional medicines and practice. What we are calling for is a more progressive discourse on the subject of treatment, where you have traditional forms of treatment,
right,
having conversations with orthodox forms of treatment, see where the level ground is.
Can it work?
It is possible. Anything is possible. Most often than not, it starts with conversations. It starts with research. It starts with understanding the areas of practice, either those offered even by the orthodox practitioners and others who are not, or as we would call traditional medicine practitioners. So,
but particularly when we tend to assume that the traditional methods or practices are not in sync with what the orthodox would do. Is there no problem, a huge gap in between the two?
I think it goes beyond just having that assumption, if I should say. We need to undertake proper research to find out. And that is, first of all, just to understand what is a traditional practice all about. Because most of the reports you have received are in bad taste, that usually the other side of the coin is what is shown to everybody else. It's about the abuses, it's about the chaining. But remove all the abuses. If there are guidelines, operational guidelines for these operators, how well do we also find out the substantive matter of treatment, not just the conditions? So it calls for a lot of research. It calls for a lot of insights to be able to understand what the whole practice is about. And my organization is seeking to do that in terms of engaging with the operators, looking at understanding the practice in general. What is traditional medicines or traditional practitioners doing in terms of mental illness? What forms of treatment there are? Because there are some who are not spiritual, there are some who are just traditional, there are some who just use herbal to treat. So how are we able to engage with all the operators in the field?
And so in this, your organization is doing this, the Human Rights Advocacy Center. How is it embarking on this journey?
First of all, we are talking with the stakeholders who are involved in
the
mental health care.
Authority,
Mental Health Authority, Ghana Health Service. We are in deep conversations with the Ghana Federation of Traditional Practitioners Associations. Other civil society organizations already working in the field, like Basic Needs. We have, of course, Star Ghana supporting the entire process. So a lot of people are already, or stakeholders are already sharing their experience in the field and also moving forward with us in terms of looking at the various areas we want to work on. And like I said, we are engaging strongly on undertaking research to understand the practice of the services provided by traditional mental health, traditional practitioners. And then also trying to generally discuss issues on stigma surrounding mental illness. Because the other thing about accessibility is that some persons feel that mental illness comes with a lot of stigma.
So they won't go out.
So they will not even go.
So even if the care
exactly, even if it's orthodox services, they would not go.
I see. I don't know if your organization has been looking into it, but some time ago, the Ghana Health Service suggested or perhaps implemented a policy where every polyclinic was to have a psychiatry unit. I don't know if you've been going around taking a look at it, if it is indeed there and that these facilities are there. But in your dealings with stakeholders, what do you generally see about mental health, the care, the attention being paid to it? Let's wrap up on this.
Right. There's a lot of policy around it. There's a lot of I mean, the Mental Health Act aptly addresses the mental illness situations. But in terms of actual practice, we need to do a lot more.
There's a gap.
There's a gap. particularly even resourcing the Mental Health Authority to do its work. So we have been calling for a legislative instrument that it clearly makes provision for financial support for the mental health. That's a huge challenge for
the authorities.
Exactly.
Dr. Gosho has been complaining almost every
yes,
every time.
And we need to take a second look at that seriously, and also pretty much looking at other structures of awareness raising on mental illness, building the infrastructure for it, even transportation systems and all that can accommodate these minority populations, because it could be you, it could be me, as we say it.
Yeah, that's what we're told. You people said that in every human being there is some insanity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure today being a holiday, we'll find a lot of these insanities on our roads. Wendy, grateful for your time with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wendy Yabi is a technical advisor at the Human Rights Advocacy Center. That we're talking about mental health. We'll tell you more about that. But the group is not gone yet. Kwampa is still around. That's we told you that it's Easter Monday, so we're getting you excited as you get ready to hit out there. We'll come back and we'll treat you to more exciting tunes. Stay with us.
Dance for hini abrocha brabo yenuanu me abrocha brabo yo abrocha brabo minyedeni eja ko ni mo original abrocha brabo yenuanu me abrocha brabo yo abrocha brabo minyedeni overseas life. Thank you. Abrocha brabo yenuanu me abrocha brabo yo abrocha brabo minyedeni palm wine music mena kuma kwatima obani mo mena metu batacheni no mijina mpueja ame sume durume oba akuakuhuno or dance for wahini overseas life ejako nimo abrocha brabo yenuanu me abrocha brabo yo abrocha brabo menyete.
Wonderful one there. Kwampa. Is there a slogan that you use?
Yes, Papa don't know.
Papa.
And then we respond Papa.
Oh, so Kwampa.
Papa don't know.
Okay, so is it good soup or right path?
The right path, but of course we get good soup a lot, but also not bad.
Okay, good soup to Grandpa. How long have you guys been together?
Barely a year. We are not yet a year old. Yes.
The BBC put a spotlight, or rather the CNN, was it?
Yes,
they put a spotlight on you. What was the feeling like?
It was great. Actually, it was a documentary. There's a guy, Eric Sonodo. He's doing a research on palm wine music and all that. And so I think the whole thing centered on his research. But he called, lovers of palm wine music to join him, and then so eventually the CNN had a documentary on palm wine music together with.
I see. This kind of music seems to be getting missing. Really, why did you choose this path?
We realized that we have lots of great stuff when it comes to our culture. Of course, we have our dark sides when it comes to our cultural past. But of course, we also have the good sides which we feel we can pick up. So we want to join in the renaissance of indigenous music and then to the preservation of some of these styles of music, like palm wine music.
You think high life is dying? Rexoma says he wants to revamp it. Is it dying?
Well, it kind of went down, but I think it's coming back. It's coming back, and it will.
Let me talk to Nana Gome. Nana Gome, how are you? So you've been doing this for how long, the Gome?
About 5 months.
5 months. And is it worth it? Yeah, is it worth it? Okay. I see. Anyway, so wrapping up the conversation, where do we hope to see Kwampa in the next 5 years or so?
Kwampa is taking indigenous music to the world. And we are joining in it's not just us, together with some other people. We want to join in the renaissance of indigenous music, specifically high life and then other forms of Ghanaian music.
I see.
So we want to push it to the world as far as we can.
Are you getting the needed support from, say, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts?
Not yet, but I think we are still working things out.
I like the way you were hesitant. Okay, so auxiliary percussionist. That's your role, right? What's the name? Isaac. Isaac, is it fun playing with a band? Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Anyway, so where can we locate Kwapa if we want to engage you, for example?
Oh, Kwampa, we are in Accra. I mean, most of us, in terms of residence, we are around Kolibum and Probila, Tebiokoshin. So we are in Accra now, but any part of the world, you call us, we will be there.
I see. Your social media and all of that?
Yes, on Facebook, we are Kwanpa on Facebook. Instagram, Kwanpa GH. Kwanpa GH. I think for now we're on.
Those are the ones. But so you didn't introduce your band to me quickly. Your Gome man.
Okay. My Gome man, he's Bismarck. Yes, Bismarck.
Osafo. Okay.
And then we have Kojoban Isaac. Auxiliary percussionist. And then we have Fred Minamo on the congas, the Palogo drums.
I see. And then you are.
And then I am Asa on the guitar. That's my name. That's my real name.
Asa. Yes. Finished.
It's finished.
It's finished. Okay.
Yes,
I see. So it works into the Easter story. I'm sure you want to take us home as we wrap up the entire show. Yes. And thank you very much for watching. What are you going to play for us?
Of course, because of the Easter celebrations. Jesus came, he died for us and all that.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Be good. On behalf of Bright, Amma, and the rest of the team, be good and enjoy your holiday. Be safe as well. Kwampa, take us home.
Asasi nyina bowa bodi ayeyo beje wa yeyinne moma yenyina yento yewo nyame ewazo yewo nyame ewazo otumfu weje asasi nyina bowa bodi ayeyo beje wa yeyin ayeyo beje wa yeyin ayeyo bede wa yin ayeyo yede wa yin moma yenyina yento se yewo nyame ewazo yewo nyame ewazo otumfu wede asasi nyina bowa bodi ayeyo bede wa yin ayeyo bede wa yin da me waye ayeyi se weje da me bo wa bodi se wampa me se wo de mu ba ko pe